Hey guys, Micah from Black Bear Custom Kydex. Today I am trying a new lighting and audio setup. I've got a lapel mic right here, and I've got some LED kind of string lights hanging up over my head to try to make everything a little bit clearer. I don't really care if you can see my face too well because I'm ugly and you don't want that. You don't want it, but I do want you to be able to see the gear that I'm trying to show you. So let me know in the comments down below if the audio is okay, if it's too loud, too soft, or if the lighting needs to come up or down. I just want everything to be a good colorized uh, representation of what I'm looking or what I'm showing you, and I want you to be able to see the definition and the clarity on all of it as well. So comments would be very welcome, particularly critical comments that would steer me in the direction of making it as universally enjoyable for my audience as possible. So today we're going to look at some projects that I built for my client Dennis. Dennis sent me this knife. I don't even know the maker model of it. We didn't discuss it, but it is a beautiful hand forged blade, kind of a Skinner drop point design. I love this thing. It's really, really nice. He asked for a black pancake style sheath carrying on a tech lock. He also sent me his cold steel drop forge buoy, and again, pancake carrying on a tech lock. I really like this thing. The retention is really nice on the sheath, as is on the other one, and both of them have this kind of ballistic one-handed draw. No rattle, no play. You're hearing the paracord flop around. But these came out really beautifully. He also sent me this really nice Tomahawk. I've never experienced this company before. So if you know anything about this, please comment down below, especially if you own one or if you're the maker of this gorgeous piece. I want to know more, and I'm going to be on the hunt to get myself one of these because it is so nice. So this Tomahawk, I want to say the company is Valor Ridge. That's what's laser engraved there. There's something else on the other side. BC is, probably can't see it in the camera too well, but it's one of those nice rounded logos with a design in the middle and looks like two cross blades and BC on it. But I just can't make it out too cleanly. So if anybody knows, or Dennis, if you want to comment down below, I'd love some more information on this. This is a phenomenal Tomahawk, guys. You can just tell the feel of it, the attention to detail. Trust me, if you can't tell on camera, this thing is ultra refined and I love it. I don't say that about a lot of particular axes, but this thing I instantly fell in love with. All right, so the sheath for this, generally, almost all of them are going to be pancake style for axes, tomahawks, whatever. But this one is going to be slightly different in the sense that because of the angle of the hawk, I decided to make it a little bit of an obtuse sheath so that I could get the row of eyelets perpendicular to the handle of this thing because I wanted to hang handle perpendicular to the ground. He wanted it on soft loops, so that's what we've got here for a carry setup. Now you can actually spin these loops around and have them above the sheath, which will allow you to kind of suspend it from your belt, which is a great option to carry. Either way is going to work nicely. And you can also move them. They just require one eyelet each. So you can get the angle of your sheath to be different by just putting the loops into different eyelets. So you'll get the aggregate angle of the location of those eyelets. You can see I'm trying to make my fingertips kind of horizontal to one another. But you can make this a very steep carry angle, or you can make it perpendicular the way it's hanging now. It also features a retention strap. Now the soft loops and the retention strap are the exact same material. I actually used a soft loop for the retention strap. This is rubber coated nylon and it's got a one-way fastener. This is what's called a pull the dot snap. So you have to peel it away from the tip to open it. You cannot open it with pressure from inside the loop, and that's kind of the point. Traditional snaps all the time get accidentally undone when you're using it on a belt, and then your gear falls off and you lose it, or worse, it injures you on the way down, whatever it might be. So yeah, there's a lot of different issues with traditional snaps. These are super rugged, super reliable, and very, very well built. So I love these things. So there we go. Now, there are always going to be limits to flexible materials like rubber-coated nylon and Kydex, which is a soft plastic. So there is an amount of force that can overcome it. You can also, with enough force, you can kind of expose the bottom corner of that blade. But this is very unlikely to happen as you're moving around and using it in any kind of normal settings. So I'm very confident in this. I would personally trust my life with this thing. So I'm really pleased with it. Now, when you want to draw this, what I recommend is you pop your snap open. It's a little bit stiff. They do take a little breaking in sometimes, but one thing actually, while I'm on the subject, because I get this question a lot, one thing to help break them in is if you put a little pressure on the bottom of this here, and then you pull, it'll pop open a little easier. So what I'm doing is kind of using my index finger, I'm putting pressure below it. It's hard to get an angle on this thing. And then I'm popping it off with my thumb. It's really easy to do. So I do that first, and then I use my thumb to sweep that out of the way so that the strap is not in between the opening and the blade. And then I can just draw out uninhibited, transition my grip, use my tool as needed, and then go back in. Now again, it's in the way, so what you want to do is kind of sweep it out of the way and then just put this in however you're going to put it in. What I recommend to go back in, as well as my justification for scalloping the handle area of the sheath, is I like to put in the cutting edge first, most of the way, to where the top of the handle is starting to go in like that. I don't like going in straight as much because it's harder to align it. So I like to go in like this and then pop it in. It's really easy to do, goes in smooth, and drawing straight out seems to be the best way to come out. So yes, you can go straight in, but aligning it is a little more difficult. So I really recommend doing this angle thing and kind of rotate it in. It works really nicely. All right, so it also slipped my mind. He asked for one other thing with the two sheaths for the knives. He asked for a dangler. So because he wanted tech locks anyway, I convinced him that the clasp dangler would be the best way to go. This is an invention of mine from about 4 years ago now, and essentially it's just a thick piece of Kydex that fits into your tech lock itself. So you can convert between carrying on a tech lock or carrying as a dangler, and all you have to do is open up your tech lock, put your piece into the tech lock, close it up and lock it, and you're ready to go. It's carrying as a dangler. Instantaneous. It's very convenient. You've got hardware to create a stopper on the bottom. You've got a thick piece that fills up the vertical spacing, and then you've got the D-ring on top to make a stopper there. So this thing doesn't even want to wiggle around on you. It's very precisely fit to the inside of that tech lock. So I'm really happy with this system, and I hope you guys like this. I know a lot of you order it, so imagine it's fairly popular. I might actually put these on my website store as well, so that people that have a knife with a tech lock can convert to a dangler carry. And one other thing I wanted to mention about these two sheaths is that the spacing of the eyelets on the top row and on the bottom row are equivalent. So you can move your tech lock from the top to the bottom if you prefer, or you can change the angle of your tech lock. Currently, it's set up to be carrying horizontally, but you can turn your tech lock, mount it so that it's carrying vertically, as well as use the exact same two holes to get it to carry at this kind of canted angle or down around here. And that's achieved by simply taking your tech lock. You can see this is a vertical carry, this is a horizontal carry, and then if you go from like the bottom corner to the middle on the other side, you can get those eyelets somewhere. There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to do this backwards on the camera. You can get those eyelets to align there, or like so. You get the point. Bottom corner, top middle, something like that. But you can get different angles that way. So using the same pair of eyelets, you can get essentially 4 angles very reliably along the top, the bottom, or facing either direction. So all of these items are ambidextrous by default. All right, guys, now I want to show you a brand new product. This is something Dennis requested and something that I'm really glad he brought up, because I think this is going to be kind of a game changer for a lot of people, myself included. It's something I'd considered building a long time ago and just couldn't really figure it out. And lately I've been doing chest harness setups, so I kind of had laid the infrastructure unknowingly for this product. But this is a shoulder harness, so I'm going to call this a universal shoulder harness. And essentially what it is just a couple of mounting plates that hang under your armpits, and the straps are all wrangled by I'll just call this an X plate or a back plate or something like that. Essentially all it does is it just keeps your straps centrally located and it keeps them angled in the right direction. I did go through multiple iterations of the back plate or the X plate, and I started out first with curves. Let me show you real quick. This is what's under my armpit right now, and what's on these. But I started out with 3 of the same plates, but the back plate just didn't have all the holes in it. And having these curves on here allows your webbing to just go in the natural hanging angle. What I found was that actually allowed the webbing to take the path of least resistance, which put the plate on my back too high. It was like almost on my neck. It was really uncomfortable, and it put this stuff like it was getting tucked behind me. No adjusting of the length of the webbing seemed to change that much. I just really didn't like it. So then I thought, well, you know what? I bet I could do 45-degree angles. That would probably solve the problem. I was wrong again. That seemed to also keep the plate a little lower, but still uncomfortably high. So then I came up with using this plate. And when I first had it on, I had it oriented like, yes, like this. And this was wrong for me as well because, again, it puts the bottom straps too vertical. So it just wasn't working out. And up top, it kind of pinches them. I mean, it doesn't pinch them together, but they're too close together. So what I found was turning it 90 degrees gets it wide enough on my back that it goes over my shoulders, keeps the plate low enough because of the horizontal nature of these, just doesn't compromise a whole lot. I also tried one iteration where the slots for the bottom webbing was perfectly vertical, so the webbing stayed horizontal, and for whatever reason, that too was not comfortable to me. So this seemed to be the best of all worlds for me, but I'm more than happy to build something different if you think that another solution would work for you. So if you guys are interested in custom sizing, holes, uh, backplate, whatever, all of this is customizable to your liking. However, I want to be really clear about this, that there's a difference between a production item and a custom item. A production item is a concept that I come up with and produce a repeatable design. And the idea is that I can take a day and make only this item. I can make a box of 50 of them and then have inventory ready to ship. Whereas a custom item requires some interaction with you and me, discussions, and then me custom tailoring a product to your liking. So these require a lot of setup to get them to be the same every time. I'm doing this with a CNC machine, so there's programming involved, there is a fixture plate involved, and there is some testing involved. So if you do want a custom thing, I am going to have to charge a custom price versus the production price, which you'll see on my website. Speaking of which, I plan on putting these up on my website by the time you see this video, if not within 24 hours of the release of this video. So please go check that out and see if a shoulder carry might be the solution that suits your daily needs. Let me talk you through that really quick because I'm super excited about this product. I'm wearing one right now. And like I said, I talked a little bit about the back plate and what I needed from that. Another thing I recommend is that you put this as tight as you can up into your armpits without being uncomfortable. The reason I say that is because the shorter the webbing is, the less likelihood it's going to flop around on you, the less likelihood it's going to twist on you in any way. It's going to stay pretty much where you want it to stay, and it's always going to be reliable. It's not going to flop around and smack things. You get the idea. It's just fewer variations, or not variations. Um, wow, I'm having a brain fart, guys. What is the word I'm looking for here? Uh, Variables. That's the one. Jeez, sorry about that, guys. Fewer variables that can change how your gear functions on its everyday voyage with you. So what I've done here, I've been carrying this for a few days now. It's super low profile, super comfortable, and I've been carrying it. I didn't today because it's really cold out, but normally I'm putting on a t-shirt, putting on the harness over it, and then putting a button-down shirt over that, but leaving it unbuttoned. Today I just kind of put on a flannel without even thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, I got to record this video, so I threw this over the top. But you can imagine a button-down shirt left open here is going to conceal this really well. Or in the wintertime, I'd have a jacket just unzipped, and I'm going to be able to reach in and grab my gear as well as carry it fully concealed. There are a lot of reasons why this makes sense for me, and I'm just going to give you my pros and maybe some cons as well. So all the pros I can think of. Number one, it's an additional way of effectively conceal carrying, which means I can get some of the gear off of my belt, or I can carry additional gear. Number two, because it's so comfortable, I can carry this all day with zero fatigue. It centers the weight right up here on your shoulders where it's really comfortable. Your shoulders bear weight very well, which is why things like a baldric sling or a chest harness, whatever, is effective in terms of comfort. So this is a really great way of carrying. It's accessible, comfortable, concealable, all that good stuff. Cons, well, you may not like to wear a shirt open. I personally, one of the things I don't like is when it's windy out and my shirt, because it's open, is kind of flapping around. That to me is a con. Um, Other than that, honestly, I forget this thing is even there until I want to use one of my blades, and it's just great. So I'm super pleased with this. I don't find any discomfort with my arm hitting it at all. I haven't had any issues with the gear itself smacking me or being uncomfortable in that way. And yeah, like I said, it's very accessible. So let me show you what I've got on here. This is the factory sheath for the Tops poker. I haven't gotten around to making myself one since I bought the knife, but um, Tops factory Kydex is actually pretty good. So I don't mind carrying their sheath around. That's not a problem for me at all. I like being able to kind of reach up and grab this. Intentionally, I put it on one screw so that it can hang down like this. But if I want to reach across and draw, I can pivot it and get that out of there nice and clean. On my left side, I've got a CRKT Provoke, and I'm carrying it in my auto deploy sheath for it, which allows me to, I can do it with same side by just kind of going into this finger ring with an underhand grip and gripping it out like that. Or I can reach across with my right hand, which I actually find to be slightly more comfortable, and I can grab it out like that. So either way, this is really accessible. When I first was wearing this, I actually had a Spyderco PM2 sheath mounted up on here. So I was just kind of drawing auto deploying on the way out. It was really nice. And yeah, so I think you're going to find, guys, that this is going to be a really great way to conceal carry. You can probably get up to a pretty decent sized knife, like an SE6 or something like that. I believe Dennis plans on carrying this under his shoulder. The difference I think that you're going to find is that if you hang it too low, it becomes impractical because of where your shirt line is. When you go to sit down, if you're going to be, hitting the handle and making it flop around. So I would recommend keeping it high and tight in there and mounting it even to the front side of the plate so that it's right here, kind of on your on the outside of your pec. That to me would be really comfortable, and I could reach across and draw very cleanly. So, all right, guys. Well, that's pretty much what I've got. But I want to know your opinions on those knives, on those sheaths, and especially on this shoulder holster or shoulder harness setup. I'm going to record a separate video dedicated just for the shoulder carry. But like I said, this I plan on releasing by the time this video comes out, if not within 24 hours. Today is June 5th. I just want to hold myself to that because I've been really bad about putting stuff up when I say to myself I'm going to. So hopefully this will hold me to account. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Pros, cons, all that good stuff. Let me know about the lighting and the audio as well. And of course, I want your opinions on all the other stuff that I showed off in this video. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and stick around for the next video. God bless.